Hey all, back again. So today, anyway, I've gone ahead and laid up the tail, vertical fin and rudder. Did the fin and rudder as one piece, but what I plan to do is, I built it up to the plan, sort of. The plan calls for two assemblies just like this one, glued together, one on top of the other, and then with these with the strip stock, it's intended that they are laid on top of the structure, not inset to the structure like this, but actually laid across. And then the thing would be sanded to profile and then covered with tissue. I don't use tissue, and so what I did was I just made this structure here, just one. I have all the parts for the other one remaining, and inset or laid in the strip stock, not overlaying the part, and then we just laid this on top of our sandwich board, 3/32, heavy 16th thickness, 3/32. Lay the part on top of it, trace it out, and again with the grain on one side running this way, the grain on the other side running this way, we can prevent warpage. And if you sight down the length of the part, you can see zero warpage, right? She's straight and true. Straight and true, that's what you want. Fair and square, straight and true, all that, yada yada. And so that's what we have with our part. And I've begun just the rough sanding using the heavy grit paper. This is 80 grit. 80 grit I use for what I call carving, which is shaping the part to its basic fundamental elementary profile. That is to give the tail its essential airfoil, or at least to start it, right? We start the airfoil shape here. We taper the nose to the front of the rudder strake to a point, and then we laid on the bottom part. Now this part here gave us our profile, right? That gives you your sanding profile. This is how you want the part to conform to this shape here. So it was laid on and then sanded down into. Now there's still a bit of overhang here at the thickest, widest part of that piece and of our vertical fin and rudder. So what will happen now is filler will go in. We're going to put lots of filler, along the edges. We're going to stay off of the back. This is where we're just going to be sanding this to a point. But we're going to fill, use the spackle, pretty liberally here, and then sand again. We'll be conforming the part, and it'll help with the filler. Will help keep the sandpaper off of, help us widen and thicken the part down here while keeping the necessary taper. So rather than using wood, is what I'm saying, rather than taking 16th balsa and laying a piece of that on here, consistent with the length of this overlap and to a point, rather than do that, we'll just use filler and sand to shape. Now you see this has a bowed shape here. This is not straight and flat, and that's so it can run true along the top of the fuselage, such that if we line this up with our top keel and establish the tail end there as a connection point down here, we get a nice close fit to the fuselage. Keeping in mind that the fuselage still needs to be infilled, sanded, and shaped. And once it's at its final shape, this part can be sanded in such a manner as to deepen that concave shape to the point that we get a nice flush fit to the top of the fuselage, right? So there's that. The other thing I did was I closed off this bulkhead so the battery once I have everything installed, the battery won't be able to slip through into the back and get stuck. We don't want that to happen. I've earmarked where the door is going to roughly be and the width of it. It's going to have to be a little wider than the battery so that it's easy to get the battery out for swapping. And then, I'm considering possibly putting some sort of tray. I could make it out of balsa or really anything, just for the battery to sit in. But I may just be redundant. I probably don't really need to do that. But I might, who knows. I'm thinking all I'll really need in there is probably a thin strip of Velcro, and then wrap a strip around the battery. Each time I replace the battery, just wrap a strip of Velcro to it that'll attach to the Velcro in the on the deck there. I'm thinking that might be a good way to go, and we can do that once the door is cut. Now again, the door is not going to be cut out until after all the infill is done, and then we'll cut it out and shave the stringers off of the back of it. It'll have the proper shape with or without them. So we'll just sand it flush, hinge it on this side over here, and let it, do its thing. Let it be a door. Right. So anyway, there's that. Here's our vertical fin and rudder. Next up is the horizontal stabilizer and elevator. Probably going to do that the same way as I did the other part. We'll just be consistent here. We'll lay up what we have here, infill it, and then skin it, sand it to shape and all that. Right, that's our next step. So anyway, I'll be back shortly. Thank you.